many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
Newsflash coming at you guys, Prepared Mind channel. Newsflash. Trump has dropped another big bomb today. It was the F-bomb. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Speaking about Israel, he dropped the F-bomb because they're idiots. They're assholes. They're jerks. Basically, Trump has had enough of this crap. And while you're at it and you're pissed off, Mr. President, please fire Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. We've all had enough of their incompetence and unwillingness to arrest Democrats, traitors, sellouts, leakers, bribers, extortionists, and embezzlers and cheaters and liars and thieves. They haven't done shit. Anyways, I want to know from you guys. Now, I recall hearing that Joe Biden, when he was in the White House, would cuss at staffers and other people and use the F-bomb. But has any other president actually dropped the F-bomb intentionally, publicly, to the media? Ooh, man, you recall anybody? It was a big one. I think the guy really is realizing that people that are supposed to be his allies are just political opportunists. That's it. That's what I think about the Israelis, is they're political opportunists. And that's all they're doing, is using the United States of America to further themselves financially, militarily, economically, and in all other ways. I see them as a bunch of stinking opportunists. They play on everyone's belief that Israel is the Israel from the Old Testament of the Bible. Israel is a secular government that was granted the real estate in Palestine in the 1920s under the Balfour Declaration. Not the same people, not the same country. They're a bunch of opportunists. I mean, what if I moved to Alaska? What if John moved to Alaska and I annexed Alaska and I named Alaska Jesus? Would that make Alaska Jesus territory? Would everyone have to say, well, that's the seat of Christianity? No, that's the country of Jesus. And so therefore you all have to worship it and send it your money. I mean, that's essentially the same thing. I don't know if it's clear to people that that's what's going on here and has been going on. And it may be offensive to some people. And you know what? This is one hell of an offensive world when people claim that their country, or pretend and take advantage of those who are ignorant. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that we have to support them and everything else. Nowhere. It's ridiculous. Anyways, I'm probably not making friends, but hey, reality is reality, and I just don't care anymore. And I'm not going to carry their fucking water for them. They were an idiot. There's a ceasefire. There's supposed to be peace, and then they turn around and bomb the shit out of people. But Trump did not just criticize Israel. He also said the Iranians, right? No one knows what the fuck they're doing. Kind of hard to argue with that. Now, get your questions and comments down below, because we're going to do your questions in the second half of the hour. I'm going to do my monologue, which is going to be covering a lot of different things and a lot of topics. But you guys, I want your opinions. I want your thoughts. I want your predictions. Is the Iran-Israel thing going to go away now? Is it going to go away? The claim today was that the United States, having dropped bunker buster bombs, boof, They were supposed to go down below the ground level and blow up the nuclear weapons facilities. Claims are that that didn't happen, that bombs were dropped, but the facilities are still intact. That's kind of a dangerous and stupid statement because you're just asking for another bombing. But no one ever accused the Iranian, and it's not the Iranian people, it's the religious, wacko, Muslim jihad government. And anytime you've got an old man with a white beard and a turban on his head calling himself the Ayatollah, you're just asking to be looked at with a very critical eye and then be treated to bombings anytime you get out of hand. Now, who is opposed to President Trump doing what he's done? The Democrats. Well, the Democrats consider you to be a domestic terrorist or a potential domestic terrorist if you are one of these things, one or more of these things. A parent. That's right. Parents are potential or domestic terrorists. If you're Republican, conservative, you are evil. You're evil. And you're also a domestic terrorist if you're a veteran, right? Now, Democrat donors. These are billionaire Democrats. Isn't it funny? Well, they're billionaires. Why don't they give all their money to the government? Because, obviously that's the best thing to do. And the smart thing to do is let government make everyone else happy and healthy and wealthy. Well, we know it doesn't happen. Anyways, billionaire donors in the Democrat Party are now withholding their cash, not just from you and me, but from the party itself. And they're saying, this is the excuse, that the Democrat National Committee is ineffectual. They're ineffective. They're not making any sense. Yeah, no shit. Even 3 out of 5 Democrats think the Democrats are doing it wrong. While, strangely, 2 out of 5 Democrats think they're doing a great job by demanding babies be killed, demanding everyone else be killed, demanding everyone else be raped, demanding everyone else lose their homes. Yeah, that's the political party of the Democrats. So the donors are like, we're not giving you guys any money. You guys are fucking idiots. And speaking of idiots, there is now a true race to the bottom in the Democrat Party, and Trump has weighed in on it. Well, let me get into this and then you'll understand. President Trump nuked. He dropped a nuke bomb, not on Iran, but on AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, after she called for his impeachment. He basically said, look, I've been impeached twice by you guys. What's the point? Well, Trump issued 2 challenges to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Number 1, he said, take the cognitive exam that he aced when he took it at the Walter Reed Medical Center. I would be very interesting to see to get a look, just an example, to find out where she scores. It's not an IQ test. It's just a mental acuity test, right? She's not going to take this cognitive exam. Secondly, he told AOC to go back to her district, Queens, and clean it up. It is failing. It's falling apart. And she's continuing to be lampooned because she doesn't represent anyone other than herself. But Trump admitted in his tirade, his very long response to AOC, she was like, oh, stop picking on me. I'm just a little girl, right? Well, after having his way with AOC and insulting her, he then went after Jasmine Crockett, saying that she is more stupid than AOC. And in support of President Trump, I'm going to bring to you that I watched this stupid eyelash whore, Jasmine Crockett, stand in front of the mainstream media and tell the world that she has to be the one to approve all military actions. That's right, a retarded ghetto whore representing one district in Texas, of all places. The president needs her approval. No, the military needs her approval. She is unbelievably retarded. Unbelievably retarded. I had heard that she went to a private school. Is that true, man? Jasmine Crockett went to a private school? Yeah. You know what? I actually believe she did now. I also believe she got DEI grades, that she was given a pass, that she was just passed to move her through the classes. This idea that she went to a private school and she's a great student, she's actually pretending to be ghetto. I'm not buying that anymore. I think she really is that fucking stupid. And I think that, well, the little black girl who went to the probably mostly white private school, yeah, that's an assumption, because that's what the media wants us to believe, right? That, well, it's only white kids that get private education. Well, she did, but I bet they just passed her. And I'm sure the teachers were fucking annoyed with her. They're like, I'm not going to fail this dumb bitch. She'll be in my class again. I just can't imagine the stupid. It's hard to imagine that much stupid. I couldn't be a congressman, Oliver. Couldn't do it. All you guys couldn't do it. Could you be a congressman in Washington, D.C.? Or your state capital? No. It couldn't be a senator either. They're fucking retarded. They really are. The discount Obamas in Congress and the Senate, or the House and the Senate, they're incredibly retarded. Male and female, all of them. They're continuing to insult themselves every time they try insulting either the president or the vice president. All you have to do is just hold a mirror up and say, oh, you're talking about yourself again. These people are absolutely fucking retarded. Now, after dropping the F-bomb on Israel and Iran, both political, economic, and religious terrorist groups, all they do is terrorize each other. Am I wrong? They're terrorizing each other. By any other definition of the word, that's exactly what they are. Okay, anyways, Trump was leaving D.C. for what? To go meet NATO. He's gone to a NATO meeting. Yeah, and essentially it is Make America Great Again, storming the gates, right? Kicking the door down at the NATO meeting and showing up. Trump has made demands of NATO to fund themselves, and every member state has to spend a percentage or an amount of money, not only on military equipment and arms and troops and training, but also infrastructure. Now I'm saying, look, if they don't, and the question I have is, well, who's going to check the books? Who's going to audit NATO? We can't trust the CBO. No. Congressional Budget Office. You can't trust the Pentagon, that's for fucking sure. Until Pete Hegseth was in there, nobody could figure out where all the money was going. And yeah, and if they don't spend the money, they need to be audited. And if they don't spend the money, Trump should pull the United States of America out, cancel NATO membership. Fuck it, while you're at it, cancel the United Nations. Kick them out of New York City. We don't need to be in the United Nations. Who the fuck cares? I know. It's tied to the dollar, the petrodollar, the world reserve currency, our leadership position in the world. Are you telling me that America, as an industrial superpower, which we could be in a few short years again, as a wealthy superpower, you're telling me that the world is just going to forget about America? Even though the dollar is going to shit, it's still the prettiest pig in the currency pile. Anyways, Trump, I need him to stand strong and just keep fucking NATO up. And while we're talking about money, very quickly, gold. Gold is still near its all-time high of 3,500. It's been knocked down for a couple of days, all normal trading stuff. But the news is reporting, the mainstream media is reporting that more and more nations are dumping the dollar or treasury bills, treasury notes, treasury bonds, whatever you want to call them. They're going to continue to dump them and buy gold. In fact, behind the United States of America is supposed to be Germany and Italy as having in the world the second and third most gold behind the United States of America. Well, let's just leave behind the fact that the smart people say China's got a lot more than them and the United States. Let's just leave China out of this. Germany and Italy are talking about getting all of their gold back from the Federal Reserve, that's where it's been stored. This is the type of move that is done during a worldwide financial economic realignment and reset. The Great Reset is still coming our way. Are you prepared for what's coming? Right? Is it going to be tomorrow, the next day? Is there going to be an event that wakes everyone up? Or is it just going to be a continual slow hammering away and changing of the guard? I tell you what, I think it's going to be mostly a slow changing of the guard. At the same time, I do think there's going to be major announcements and shocks to the system. Monetary SHTF, I think, is going to be coming our way. And that's why I recommend to all us regular little folks, gold and silver. That right there is 3 9s fine, silver, 1 ounce, but with the Marine Corps emblem on it. I got a few of those. They make me very happy. Anyways, people should be saving their wealth. An interesting article came out today. It was gold versus Porsche. Gold versus Porsche. You know, how many ounces of gold does it take to buy a particular Porsche? Gold is holding up. It's holding its own. It's doing a good job, right? It's holding its own against, well, Porsches, the dollar, the euro, the yen, the ruble, right? Gold is what's holding value. It may not be an investment. A lot of people say it's not an investment. It's not a speculative investment. It's a savings. Now, what does savings mean, right? When I was a kid, I was like, okay, you have a bank account, Mom, and you have a savings account. Well, it is after you get your money and you pay all your bills, you've got this other money, you put it into your savings. You're saving that money. What is the point of savings? It is to save you, right? You save the money saves you. That's what saving is about. That is your financial savior. It's your savings. This will save you. Gold and silver will save you in a crisis. And we are long overdue. Or you could just say we are now due. Or you could say the bill is coming due now. When countries and central banks and private banks and very wealthy people are continuing to buy gold by the ton, there's a problem. Right now, these billionaires, they own vast amounts of property, wealth, businesses, etc. But regular people, what do we own? A lot of you guys own real estate, houses. And there's going to be something changing there, I think, in the future. In the state of Florida, where I have my bunker, Governor DeSantis is calling out the property tax scheme. He wants a complete abolition or removal of property taxes. Now, I think that property taxes is a personal estate tax. I do. I think it's an additional direct tax on a person's property that's already been taxed at the time of the sale. The other person sold it, they're paying a tax on any what? Profit. Right? If you buy a house for $100, sell it for $200, you pay taxes on the $200 gain, capital gains tax. But here's the deal: a fucking gain is inflation. You're paying taxes on inflation. It's incredible. Anyways, property's already taxed at the time of sale. Property tax, in my opinion, is both unconstitutional and it's immoral. And I think all taxes should be repealed, except corporate taxes, because corporations owe their existence to the authority of the state. I think that we, the people, shouldn't be taxed at all, and that we can decide if we want to buy goods or services from corporations and then indirectly pay taxes through them. Our taxes would be reflected in what they charge us. I think that would work very well. And it would just be an exchange, right? And you can determine, and I think that's how the system was intended. I believe that. I see it in the way it was written, the Constitution and common law. In any event, I know that I'm barking up a tree that's just not going to happen. But in Florida, they may get rid of property taxes. That would be a big SHTF event for the world, would it not? Get your questions down below, your comments down below, your thoughts, predictions, prognostications, your observations, and hell, even your humor. Okay, where are we rolling next? Well, here we go. This is as it should be. There was a fired lawyer, a Department of Justice federal lawyer, who came out and apologized to an Obama-appointed judge. Why did a Department of Justice prosecutor, a lawyer, apologize? Well, because he was involved in defending Trump's illegal alien deportation. So this this piece of shit lawyer and his representatives dropped a hit piece on Trump. Well, not on Trump, but his federal court nominee, Emil Bove, for the Third Circuit Court, which is in Florida. Now, this asshole who apologized to a judge is now shitting on this court appointee of Trump's. His name, by the way, is Ruveni, I believe. His attorneys, or spokesman, if you will, wrote a 27-page complaint. And get this. They are saying that Trump's nominee, Bove, stated that the Department of Justice would need to consider telling the courts to, let me try this again. They're claiming that Trump's nominee, Bove, stated that the Department of Justice would need to consider telling the courts, fuck you, and ignore any such court order, end quote, meaning you're going to keep people in this country and not deport them. Well, yeah, the Supreme Court said, right, get them the hell out of here if you want. Trump's the commander-in-chief. Trump is the president. Trump is the executive officer, right? He's in charge of the executive branch of government. I love it. They're trying to get this guy. Will Bove make it? I actually think this is a resume enhancer. And by the way, all unconstitutional orders from Congress, the president, or any court, all unconstitutional orders are unconstitutional 100%. And they should be ignored. And judges making those rulings do need to be told, fuck you. And I do think this Bove cat needs confirmation immediately and medals. This will be one of the few times you'll hear me say that attorney needs a medal for what they've done. Yeah, they need to. And this jackass judge that said that, well, Trump has to, never mind the Supreme Court, Trump has to, his order stands. Well, unfortunately, Stephen Miller said there's going to be some big shit happening today. All that happened was some other Republican judge just put him down and said, oh, yeah, he's an asshole. And no, these people need to be defunded, disbarred, and if there's any evidence of a crime, they need to be prosecuted. Whether they're a judge or a DOJ prosecutor, an investigative lawyer, They need to be removed. This is more evidence that you don't leave the other guy's people in there. Trump should have cleaned out the entire Department of Justice. And while you're at it, Trump, get rid of Pam Bondi. She's worthless. Absolutely worthless. Right? And if her claim to fame is she's covering for Israeli government and businessmen and Mossad by not going after Jeffrey Epstein's people, are they all Israelis and Jews? Is that it? Is that everything? Why not release the list of all the Goyim that participated down in Epstein's Island? Now, the Israelis, the Iranians, I think that the Muslim and warlord Jews, I think that Trump is right, that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Right? And what he was basically saying is these idiots have been at each other's throats for so many years that they can't think straight. Right? Trump said Israel, quote, unloaded right after we made the deal. That pissed him off, right? How should the United States of America respond to this? Should we remove our support to Israel? Should we deny Israel request for help? Right? Now recall, I covered, and this I think is very important to remember. Just the other day, I covered the Trump and Netanyahu conference, the meeting they had, where they're sitting in chairs in front of cameras, and Trump stood up and turned his back when King Bibi, right, stood up and tried to shake hands with Trump. This is before this bullshit bombing after a truce has been called. Yeah, Trump was pissed off. He was not happy meeting with King Bibi. I think, I think there's a lot more going on behind the scenes, folks, than we're being allowed to see, which is why you and I need to be prepared. We need food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. If Trump can't get Israel, a tiny little piece of shit country, to behave, then he can't make anyone behave. There's a problem here with this country. With Iran, there's a big fucking problem. With Israel, there's a big problem. With Syria, there's a big problem. Right? We just need more adults in the room, I guess. Israel has pushed Trump too far. He said the other day he turned his back on Bibi, acted like he wasn't going to talk to him, turned back around, did the obligatory handshake, but it was not a respectful handshake. And then this, right? Hopefully Trump and the world is waking up. All right, guys, it is, my monologue. Not over, not done, or is it? I really do want to hear what you guys are thinking on this Tuesday, June 24th. What day is June 24th? I think I'm going to have to check my calendar later. Anyways, let's do it. Let's get to the inner circle with you guys. We're back. Mr. Uman says we got a good selection of questions, and you can be here if you're a subscriber on the preparedmind.club, subscribestar.com, or X. We're here daily, 4:30 Eastern Standard Time every single day. And, if you're a member, all you got to do is check in, send a question to Uman, and he'll read it if it works. And then you can watch the videos later. You don't have to sit here the whole time if you're at work on the West Coast. I get it. It's earlier on the West Coast, but what the hell? Okay, Mr. Uman, let's start. Where do we want to roll first? It's going to be crazy. And it's Corey checking in. How you doing there, brother? He says, Americans are sick of being life support for Israel. And I don't think that's an understatement. No. I don't think that's an overstatement. I don't think it's either. I think it's right down the middle. I really do. I think it's right down the middle. Americans are sick and tired of it. Now, Israel, they make the Desert Eagle pistol. Israel, they make the Uzi. Israel does a lot of manufacturing. They can survive on their own. Israel has, well, weapons. Jets, tanks, guns and bullets. I think Israel should take care of itself. They also have nuclear weapons. I really think that the International Atomic Agency, was that the IAEA, they need to investigate and inspect Israel's weapons. And they need to check Russia's and ours, everyone. You know, hey, isn't this what the government says? If you've got nothing to hide, then you won't mind us taking a look. If you got nothing to hide, I tell you, yeah, I'm sick of money going to Israel and all other countries. We have some serious problems in this country. Let's just not even talk about our own government stealing, lying, cheating, murdering, and fucking us over. But we have homeless veterans. We have sick veterans. Veterans have to beg for assistance to stand in line and play all the bullshit government games. Then there's the homeless who are suffering from mental illness. We have a drug problem here. Instead of sending money to Israel and other nations, how about if we get the drugs cleaned out of this country? And Mexico is a huge source of that. You know, until we bombed, or right before we bombed Iran, Mexico was starting to get out of hand. Do you remember that, Uman? It came into the news cycle very quick and went away, talking a bunch of shit about we're going to build a wall, but over the 1848 Mexico border, which, you know, was half of the American Southwest. Yeah, they were talking a bunch of trash. Look, folks, you know, I was talking to a friend earlier about the concept of, well, if your brother, you know, slaps you on the face, strikes your cheek, turn them the other one, right? And I was like, you know, Mexico is our neighbor, a brother at the nation status. Same with Canada, you know, and they gave us a good slap there. Okay. You do it again, though, right? You give them the other cheek, not because you like to be abused, you're a fucking masochist, but it's like, okay, Mexico, that was a fucking mistake. Do it again, right? And if they do it again, cut them off. I'm sick of threats and bullshit. I'm sick of strongly worded letters. I want some fucking action, right? And I think we're kind of getting that. I think we're kind of getting it, right? Trump needs to go all the way. Take the fucking gloves off. Start firing people. Start arresting people. I know I'm a broken record. All righty. Thank you, Corey. And Mr. Uman, where shall we roll next? And we got a new name here, Roy Stonerook. He says, Israel has been funded by the U.S. for many years. Very true. All the weapons Israel uses are from the United States. Very true. Should Trump stop all funding and weapons supply to Israel to send a message? The answer is yes. When we say funding, that means giving them weapons and then saying that's part of the donations that the United States gives to Israel. I don't know why Israel is an ally of the United States. It was created by the Balfour Document, which is a British or United Kingdom document. The United States did not create Israel. It didn't, at the end of World War II, take that land and say, this is for you people. Yeah. I think the message needs to be sent loud and clear. You've grown up now. You're all grown up. If you want to start wars, you must be all grown up. You're on your own. Right? I remember that as a kid, as a teenager. Right? I got old enough to drive a car. So my mother said, well, you're old enough to drive a car. You're old enough to get a job. You're old enough to get a job, John. You can pay for the car insurance. You can start paying your own way. Israel needs to pay its own way. if it's big enough to have a nuclear weapons program, a biological weapons program, a chemical weapons program, and you want to reach out and bomb Iran and bomb Syria and bomb up in Turkey and bomb in Jordan and bomb the USS Liberty. That's right, an American warship was attacked by Israel. It was strafed, it was bombed, it was attacked, it was set on fire. It was not sunk. And Americans lost their lives. And I still have not, Roy, I still have not heard any Israeli leader, including King Bibi himself, apologize for that attack and give us some sort of explanation. We're still on the brink of a nasty World War III. I've said, and I continue to say, World War III has started. It's just, how fast is it going to accelerate, and how bad is it going to get? And it's not a conventional war like World War I and World War II. Hell, it's not conventional even like North Korea and Vietnam. There's a lot more to this war. It is a propaganda war, and they all are. Yeah, I know. It's psychological warfare. Yeah, that's part of the propaganda warfare, but it's much more scientific these days. But it's also an economic war, World War III. And we have sides being chosen, just like in World War I and World War II. We've got the Allies and we've got the Axis. Right? So nations are picking sides. Whose side do they want to be on? It's happening right now. I think Israel, they need to be on their own. You can actually bet, right? Have you known those little bastards in school, if you remember? And I'm sure guys will remember more than women. But the little runt that would talk a bunch of shit and bully people, knowing that his big buddies are going to back him up. Imagine if Israel did not have the United States of America funding its military and supporting it militarily. They would have to play a lot nicer, don't you think? Now, I will say this. If Iran had nuclear weapons, and if Iran was actually going to use them, yeah, then I think it's completely justified what Israel did. And if they can feel that way all they want, they can think that, they can believe it. And if that's their justification, then so be it. But they should accept the consequences and understand that, yeah, the United States doesn't necessarily have to be behind you. Neither does Europe. But I think the world is starting to feel some disdain for Israel because they've really pushed a lot on the Palestinians in Gaza. And not that I love Hamas or the Palestinians. No other Muslim nations on the planet, not one, wants a single Palestinian in their country. It's almost as if they're a fucking plague. And there's other countries that don't want a single Jew in their country because they look at them as plague. So when I see this and hear this with Iran and Palestine and Israelis, it's like, why are the rest of the world suffering because of those assholes? Here we are, right? Well, like it or not, agree with it or not, it's the world we are living in. Okay, Mr. Uman, great topics to discuss. Let's move on. And we got Chin music. Chin's in the house. By the way, Chin, Uman, and Nikki, I'll be sending you guys an email with some special updates on October's gathering. Chin music says, glad you mentioned the difference between spiritual Israel and literal Israel. I keep getting savaged by these biblically illiterate conservatives when I criticize the Israeli government. Read the book for fuck's sake, says Chin Music. I agree 100%. Right? The book where it says, blessed be Israel and all this. Yeah. That's all Old Testament stuff. If you're a Christian, as Christians, the book, the New Testament says, doesn't matter if you're Jew or Gentile, right? The Christian faith is number one. It doesn't say, the Israelis in ancient Israel, that family of 12 sons. That's number one. God's favorite is that. And you Christians are second. No, not a fucking chance. I don't speak on religion too often, but that's a fact. If you're a Christian, Jews do not preempt you. Jews are not superior to you as a Christian. Christianity says Jews rejected Christ. That's it. Savior salvation is through Christianity and Christ. Now, if you don't believe that, fine. I don't give a fuck. That's your choice. But don't tell me that we have to worship the Israelis and treat them like they're God's chosen people, because they're not. They're God's rejected people. They rejected Christ and had him crucified by the Romans. Good golly. All right, enough of my religious bullshit. Thank you, man. I tell you what, and people will get offended by that. They don't want to hear the truth. And that is part of what being a grown-up is about, is accepting facts and continuing to learn and educate ourselves, whether it's about religion, economics, politics, prepping, self-defense, education, everything. It's all important, folks. Again, it's you see, the only reason we're having this Israeli Christian conversation is because the Israelis keep relying on that lie that they're superior to us in God's eyes. They rely on that, and the ignorance of Americans and the ignorance of politicians who don't know shit either. They're just doing as they're told, and politicians have got their hand out to Israel. Here we go. The United States funds and gives, $25 billion to Israel every year? Is that the number? Whatever the fucking number is, they give them that many billions of dollars in hardware, military, cash, etc. And then the Israelis turn around and they give American politicians, both Democrats and Republicans, they give them money. AIPAC, the America-Israeli Political Action Committee, AIPAC, funds. They fund campaigns for American politicians. So Israel, through this control by using money, it's literally bribing, folks. Oh no, they gave the money to a political campaign, not to the candidate themselves. No. See, when a political candidate loses, they get to keep all the money that's left over. So all a candidate has to do is just stockpile a bunch of money and not spend it, and they get to keep it in their pocket. But Israel funds Republicans and they fund Democrats in the campaigns. And it's all your tax money that we send over to Israel, and India sends over a little bit back and bribes people. It's dirty. It is dirty money. It's stolen money that is... It's stolen money. It's stolen from us and used against us. Can you imagine if Trump gave $1 billion to Iran? Oh, yeah, wait, yeah. Obama did that. Pallets of cash. What if Trump gave billions of dollars to North Korea? What do you think the Democrats would say? What if Trump gave billions of dollars to Russia? What would the Democrats say? Oh, they'd lose their shit. Well, what if North Korea or Russia or Iran took that billions of dollars that Trump gave them and then gave back, $100 million back to Trump's campaign? If Trump was given $100 million by Russia, well, he'd be a Russian asset. See, he's a Russian asset. Okay, then everyone who takes Israeli money is an Israeli asset. There is an Israeli puppet. And it all explains itself that way. As soon as you take the hat off of this person, put the little hat on the other head, you see exactly what we're dealing with, right? If Russia is influencing an election through Trump, allegedly, then Israelis are interfering, and the Chinese are interfering in our elections by funding the campaigns of American politicians. And they're smart enough to know you fund both sides. This is the rich man's trick, whether it's in politics or war, is you give money to both sides so that no matter who wins, you get more back. For example, I'm given $1 billion. I'm China, and I got $1 billion from the United States. And so I take 100 million and another 100 million, and I give it to each candidate. I still have 600 million left out of that billion. And no matter who wins, I'm going to get another whole billion. It's a winning proposition. That's politics. That's why we can't trust them. They're lawyers, they're liars. And let's see, in the New Testament, who are the people that are spoken about most, negatively? Sadducees, the Pharisees, who are the Jews, right? And then lawyers and hypocrites. And then money changers, right? When Jesus got pissed off, turned over the money changers' tables, right? People that are selling, right? Trading, they're sinful people, bad people, and they're just thinking they can buy their way out of it because God's an idiot, right? Anyways, here we are, Mr. Uman. I know this is turned into a bash Russia, Israel, China, but here we are. Mikey G, and we're also bashing politicians in D.C. Everyone, right? I'm not taking money. Uman's not taking money. Mikey G is not taking money. He says, what's offensive is 80% of Congress has dual citizenship with Israel. One more problem. Here we go again. Even the Bible says you can only serve one master. A house divided against itself cannot stand. And our Congress is divided against itself. They're supposed to be representing America, yet they share citizenship with another country, Israel. You cannot serve both masters. And so who are they serving? They're serving themselves. And then, I look at the offices of these senators and these congressmen, women, and they have the flags of other countries on their walls outside their door. I stand with. Have you ever heard of the American flag in your own fucking country? Right? This country is divided. Thank you, Obama. And thank you, Bushes. And thank you, Clintons. And thank you, Bidens. Because they push this left-right paradigm. Well, it's a gigantic fucking lie. Thank you, Mikey G. Keep on rocking. Keep prepping, everyone. And don't be afraid to rock the boat. If you have a question, ask it. Right? Like I get hard questions from time to time, right? Or difficult topics. You should be able to ask a question or respond to a statement and say, are you sure about that? Are you sure it's okay to be an Israeli citizen and serve in Congress, in government, as a bureaucrat? Explain why that's okay. And if someone gets offended at you, attacks you, calls you names, it's because their brain is this big. They're weak. Even if they're fundamentally a conservative or Republican, if they cannot articulate an argument with you, support with statements and facts their position, it's because they don't know. And they're listening to propaganda, the dual citizenship propaganda, the mainstream media horseshit. I've tried staying out of this quasi-religious quagmire, and it's sucking us back in. They're sucking us back in. The whole Russia-U.S. relationship, the United States of America would benefit from a strong, mutually beneficial relationship with Russia. It has vast resources, vast energy, and they're basically a moral people. Right? We could benefit from that. Instead, we've made an enemy of them. China, we tried having a beneficial relationship. What have they done? They've taken advantage of us, screwed us over. They've benefited with the technology that they've borrowed. Have they not? And now what are they? Now they are in an adversarial relationship. And they've grown big enough and powerful enough that they don't really need America the way they used to. Of course, if any of us lost 30% of our business, That would be detrimental. It would be bad. But you'd still live and survive, right? Well, China is the second most powerful country, or first economically, depending on who you listen to. Militarily, they're incredibly strong. They aren't as the nuclear superpower America is, but they're on their own. Their middle class has grown. Their manufacturing has grown, right? Everything is better off in China because of their relationship with us. Right? We shouldn't have done all those things, including helping them get ICBMs into rockets, missiles, bombs into orbit. You can thank Bill Clinton. You can thank Bill Clinton for giving them that technology. All right. Thank you, Mikey G. It's offensive. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I agree with you. Mr. Uman, where shall we roll next? We've got Name Redacted checking in. He says, hey, John, I had a minute to pop in. Excellent, Name Redacted. Thank you. He says the problem, meaning problem, is not as much the minimal amount we pay in property tax that actually gives you things in return. It's the school taxes that are out of control. Well, I tell you what, schools and school taxation is ridiculous. As a general contractor, property developer, professionally, I've paid lots of fucking taxes, and it is exorbitant. It is insane. The cost to educate children should be nil. Nil. I understand teachers' salaries are not great. I understand that administrators, school administrators, their salaries are too much. And the administrative burden on schools is outrageous. The number of people a school hires. I understand. And everywhere I've been in the world, from far, far to the west in Hawaii, to far, far to the East Coast, and down south, all the way into the Caribbean, everywhere, right? We as Americans and as a people all together on this planet treat children like they're gods. They need to have a baseball field, a football field, a soccer field, basketball courts, a gym, a volleyball court. They need to have pools. We need to have massive buildings, and they need to have new books all the time. Why? Look at your computer that you're on. You've got all the information available on a computer for free. We need one company to write math books one fucking time, because 1 + 1 is always 1. It's universal. 5 × 5 is 25. It never changes. Why do the math books ever need to be changed? Computerized real math, not Common Core math, not this bullshit math. Have one standard for education. Hell, if you need to be 28 to finally graduate with a GED by taking a computer test, fine. You have to keep going to school till you get a general education. They can have the law. Educate at home, and maybe once, twice a week. And they organize it by the area you live in. You go to a physical place and physically exercise, or you have physical exercise and socializing. A lot of people say kids need to be socialized in school. They need to learn how to socialize. Have you seen these fucking schools where kids are attacking teachers and teachers are fucking molesting and raping students, and students are killing each other and stabbing each other and fighting each other? There's fucking chimp outs left and chimp outs right. Schools have security fences, metal detectors, and cops who show up and beat up kids. Right? Schools are a ridiculous fucking joke. It's another waste of fucking money. All schools is babysitting for retards. And it is only the most intelligent kids that are like, I need to learn. Because they've been told you need to learn. You need to think. You need to learn to read, write, arithmetic. You need some history, some literature. You need some physical. You need to be educated. And they learn. The rest of them, they don't give a fuck. They want to be hood rats. They want to be ghetto bums. They want to be like Jasmine Crockett or AOC. So we want to keep spending money on that shit? Wow. You know, when I was a kid, you got a school book. You had to cover that school book in a paper bag from a grocery store. And if the book was destroyed or ruined, you had to pay for it at the end of the year. You can give a student a laptop computer, and they could do all their classes and all their studies on that computer. And I know a lot of schools are trying to do things like this. And if they destroy the laptop, if they ruin it, if they lose it, they can pay for it the same way they pay for books. There's no reason for them to get destroyed. It doesn't need to go outside to play. It doesn't need to go in the shower. It doesn't need to go in the dishwasher. It doesn't need to fall into the sink, right? We could save so much money as a nation and actually get somewhere. And this thing about, again, kids need to socialize. What about kids that live on farms 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 150 years ago? They got educated. And they worked their little asses off. You got a bunch of spoiled fucking brats in these schools. Spoiled brats. And they're told they're all brilliant. Fuck, if I have to hear from another Gen Z or millennial about how they can run the country. Look at Jasmine Crockett. There's another fucking idiot that thinks she can run the country. AOC thinks she can run the country. They can't run a fucking lemonade stand. All right, man, who's next? We got just a few minutes left, and it's Robin Free to Be. And she says, hey, one of my daughters. She's got at least two. Congratulations, Robin. One of my daughters who is not having children thinks people should be responsible for their choices. You want children, then you pay for their education, daycare, food, etc. I agree. Bam. If you're going to have children, you're responsible for all of it. I agree with that. I don't think that the expense of someone having children should be socialized. That is to say, why should we all pay for it? Right? This whole idea with roads, right? You pay fuel taxes to fix the roads. Well, it'd be nice if they fixed the fucking roads. It'd be nice if they fixed the fucking bridges. Instead, you know, like this down in Florida, down by Tampa, they just built a new bridge crossing Tampa Bay. And they've got 4 lanes and then another 4-lane bridge, and they built another 4-lane bridge, I've been told. And instead of having 12 lanes go across the bay, they're going to take one of them and remove it. Where's the sense in that? You just spent allegedly, I don't know, a fucking $1 billion building this bridge over a number of years, and you're just going to tear down something that has the same value. Government destroys and pisses money away. Oh, I'll criticize Florida when they fuck up. This is one of those things I've heard about. You know, I think government employees should be held responsible. They fuck up, they should go to jail. They should have to pay the difference. I'm tired of them getting a fucking pass. Right? They waste our money. Schools. National defense is a huge waste of money. I want our country protected. I don't want rich corporations getting richer off of us. I tell you. Anyways, Robin, 1, congratulations on having daughters. 2, congratulations on raising at least one daughter who's responsible. And I really do think parents should pay. When I was married and I had young children, and we had in the area I was in, which was extremely rural, one private school, and we used it until they shut down. And then my kids had to go to public school. And there was a struggle, I tell you. Ridiculous. In any event, folks, we're at the end of the show for today. Today is Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. And I'm going to go have me some tacos. It's going to be lettuce, taco meat, cheese, and sour cream and hot sauce. It's going to be a winner, folks. Low Carb Taco Tuesday. I love you guys. Thank you for the great support. I'll see you tomorrow. And by the way, does everyone like Zero Dark 30? I don't know. I don't get a whole lot of feedback on it, but I do it every day because I wake up thinking about stuff with you guys. Let me know what you think of that as well, and I'll keep doing it because that's what I do. But Semper Fi and chance favors the prepared mind is yours.